What's up guys, Firewolf here, showing you guys the ROG Strix 4080 Super OC in black. This GPU has to be one of the most fire GPUs out there with its awesome design, RGB lighting, and incredible cooling performance. You can have it either in this sleek black color or white, making this fit perfect for either your white or black build. The ROG Strix version is ASUS's most expensive GPU tier with a starting premium price tag of $1,199 for the base 4080 Super and an additional $50 for the overclocked version, which is the one that I have here. It's a $200 upcharge from the initial launch price of the 4080 Super Founders Edition. So you and I both want to know if the ROG Strix is worth getting for your gaming PC setup. If you want that snow white color, you would have to pay an additional $100, essentially the white tax. ASUS also recommends a power supply of 850 watts to power this GPU, and this 4080 Super comes with 16 gigabytes of VRAM with a clock speed of 2640 megahertz and an overclock mode of 2670 megahertz. Before we jump into the performance, let's unbox the ROG Strix 4080 Super. The unboxing experience feels very premium with their slogan, "For those who dare." This black box is fire so far. Lifting it up, we have the 4080 Super wrapped in an anti-static bag, ready to be torn open. This card is pretty heavy and bulky, but damn is it beautiful. I'm so sorry guys, but I lost the footage of me peeling off the plastic. It was one of those moments where I thought I hit record and it never did. But moving on, further inside we get a 5-star card of the ROG Strix GPU, a couple of manuals, warranty stuff, and a cardboard stand. Next we get an awesome pillar style anti-sag bracket, which in my opinion is way better than those other types. This anti-sag bracket also has a dark gray design with a hidden Phillips screwdriver on the inside. Next is the power connector, which is a 600 watt 12VH power connector to 3 PCIe, or you can use the new ATX 3.0 PSUs that have those connectors for a seamless connection. And finally, we get some Velcro cable ties that are ROG branded, but no ROG ring, which kind of sucks. For inputs, we get 2 HDMI 2.1A ports and 3 DisplayPort 1.4A for a maximum display support of 4 separate monitors. Most 40D series cards have only 4 inputs, so it's nice to see an extra HDMI or DisplayPort for versatility. Taking a closer look at the design of this GPU, it has more of a perfect rectangular shape with huge heat sinks in the middle. It's on the bulky side, so pay attention to the size and compatibility of your PC case. There's RGB lighting that wraps around the edge of the GPU, and the Republic of Gamers will also light up. On the fan side, we have nice red and blue accents that make up the ROG logo. There's also silver accents that reads out the ROG letters if you look closely enough. On the center of each fan blade, there's also some nice ROG branding with the holographic effect that makes this card look awesome when it's vertically mounted. The faceplate of the GPU also looks fire with silver accents and a stealthy matte black. This card will also look good horizontally mounted. Having it vertically mounted on my black PC looks stunning. This is one of the best aesthetic GPUs you can get. The anti-sag bracket is easy to use to get it nice and leveled. The RGB lighting is also great, but I would have wanted to see some RGB lighting around the fans. Still, there's no denying that this card is fire. You can control the lighting using AuroSync, which gives you many color options and effects. Testing out this ROG Strix 4080 Super using 3D benchmarks. Let's start off with their speedway test, where I got a score of 7,471 with an AMD Ryzen 9 7900X CPU. Average frames was 74.72 frames per second. Now comparing it with other GPUs that I've tested, I saw a 39% increase over a ROG Strix 4070 Super, a 21% increase over the MSI Ventus 4070 Ti Super, and about a 1% increase over the MSI Supreme X 4080 Super. Now there's still a sizable performance difference versus my ROG Strix 4090, which is 33% higher in FPS performance in the speedway test. Next up is the 4K TimeSpy Extreme test, which got me a graphics score of 14,428 and an average FPS of 88.14. It also scored a little bit higher than the Supreme X, but the 4090 is still 30% more powerful in this test. And finally, I ran an NVIDIA DLSS test using 4K resolution and DLSS set to quality. Without DLSS, the ROG Strix got an average FPS of 41.09 frames per second, and with the same test with DLSS on, we got an average FPS of 103.86 frames per second, which was a huge boost in performance. Now let's jump into Modern Warfare 3 using the LG 32GS95UE 4K gaming monitor to see how it performs. Loading up the map Rust with all the upscalings turned off with extreme graphics on and just using it raw, I saw an average of 105 frames per second with frames bouncing from high 80s to mid 115. Turning on DLSS and setting it to quality with frame generation, we see a nice bump to an average FPS of 169 frames per second. Now, if you had a 240Hz monitor like this OLED monitor, then with a couple of tweaks to DLSS and graphics presets, you can definitely hit it. I reduced the graphics down to balance with DLSS set to ultra performance, and you get a nice range between 220 and 245 frames per second. I've also tested extreme setting of Forza 5 with frame generation for an average FPS of 154 frames per second, which looked really good. And finally, Horizon Forbidden West with DLSS set to quality and got an average of 120 frames per second, just enough for 4K 120Hz TVs or monitors. So far, these numbers make it pretty reasonable to use for 4K gaming with many custom settings to prioritize either performance or visual fidelity. In all of my testings, the temperatures did not exceed 65 degrees Celsius, and that's thanks to ASUS putting all of their premium parts in design for their best cooling. Keep in mind though that my temperatures are based off of using it on my NZXT H9 Elite case on a vertical stand, so temps can vary between your specific configuration and PC case. Now to the ultimate question, is the ROG Strix 4080 Super overclock worth the premium price tag of $1,249? Well, I think it's worth it if you really care about aesthetics, having better chip binning, and cooling performance. For me, the design and aesthetics alone is worth it to me. If you still think it's not worth it, then that's fine. You can always grab their Tough Gaming 4080 Super overclocked, which is $150 cheaper, or other brands that have the 4080 Super at Founder Edition's prices. I think the ROG Strix 4080 Super is one of the best looking GPUs out there, with the MSI Supreme X competing very close in aesthetics. But if you wanted to do an all black build, then I highly recommend the ROG Strix 4080 Super for its performance and the way it looks. It just looks so stunning. If you're interested in getting this GPU or a complete list of my PC setup, I'll have affiliate links down below, which helps and supports the Firewolf Tech channel. I will also appreciate a like, share, and subscribe. Firewolf out.